One of our favorite guests in Houston is once a week, Colonel Steve Bucci, former commander of 3rd Battalion, 5th Special Forces. The Colonel and I, developed this friendship over the radio where he brings his Special Forces training and experience for emergency preparedness. Down here in Houston, my gosh, we've had the Colonel on so many times getting ready for hurricanes. Like, what do you do? What do you stock up on? We've had him on talking floods. We've had him on talking about freezes, remember? We've had the Colonel on talking about power outages. Now we got to get Special Forces insight on how to prep for riots as a member of Congress, inciting crowds. Maxine Waters, Congressman from California, without a doubt, calling for trouble out there with the Chauvin trial. Let me get to Special Forces, Colonel Steve Bucci, former commander, 3rd Battalion, 5th Special Forces. Sir, welcome back to the Mike Gallagher Show. How you doing?
It's great to be on the show with you, Sam. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being our tutor. You know, because we got all this Meshuggah weather down here that gives me agita and spokas in my gesundheit as we slam languages together. And you've always been a great source of information on how do you prep. We got a member of Congress now over the weekend, pretty much, without a doubt, looking to incite horrible violence and lootings and burnings. And Colonel, sir, from the Special Forces point of view, how do you even prepare and get in the mindset for possible rioting if you're a store owner or you're a resident? And this can be in cities across America, sir.
Yeah, that's the problem. You know, it would be horrific if it was just in that city, but that's not the case. This stuff is going on all over the place. And when a national figure like a congresswoman makes public statements like she's done, again, by the way, this is not the first time she's done this kind of nonsense, it can cause flare-ups of violence all over the country. And, I mean, she needs to be called to account for it. But that said, I'll leave that to other folks. If something like this could happen, what should you do? Well, obviously the best thing to do if there's going to be a riot around you is get the heck out of there. You don't want to be around because there's so many intangible things that could happen or something that can just go wildly wrong. But if you're an owner of a store or owner of a house, that might not be an option. You might have to come to the decision that you want to protect your property, your home, your business, and that's tough to do. So there are some things you can do, and if you'd like, I can elaborate on those.
Absolutely. Colonel Steve Bucci, former commander, 3rd Battalion, 5th Special Forces. Talk to us.
Okay. Well, the first thing is, the first thing people do in these situations is break windows. So obviously, if you've got a business, a retail kind of place, you got big store windows, you want to try and get those covered. This is not a guarantee. The bad guys have gotten pretty good at being able to pull down plywood, break right through it. You can't have the plywood right up against your window, by the way, because they'll just beat on the plywood and break your window anyway. So you got to think about it as how you mount the plywood, and that's very idiosyncratic, so I'm not going to go into detail there. But try and make sure that as you protect your windows, particularly on first floors, but really upper floors as well, that you've got some space between the wood and the glass. Then you need to reinforce doors because the bad guys are, they're lazy like everybody else. If they can just push on a door and get in, they'll do that. And there you run into the people who are not just angry, but the people who may just want to steal your stuff that's in your house or your store. So you've got to reinforce those doors from the inside as best you can. If you can get professional help to do that, install some other bars or things on your doors, then I would do that. But that's not always an option when this stuff kicks up quickly. Then you have to make a decision. How much do you want to protect this property? Do you want to put your life at risk? Or, are you just going to do all these physical means and then hope for the best? We've had instances, we had them during the summer, where people of color stood up to the mobs and, because it was their businesses or they were working for somebody who owned their businesses, and they tried to stand up to them, and they gave their life. So, you have to make a decision. I'm not going to pretend that I can make a decision for you. Is how much do you want to invest in this? Is, if you got good insurance, you may let it go and just file a claim. But some people are not willing to do that. Maybe they don't have good insurance. Maybe there's a family investment in this building and the stuff in it or the home that you don't want to just let the mob torch. So you may want to try and defend it. You need to be really careful that you don't do anything illegal. Remember, you can't just shoot at people when they're coming by your building to try and scare them off. That couple in St. Louis is still going through some legal issues because they brandished their guns on their own property, warning these people to just move on by. So, you may want to call your local police and say, hey, what are my rights? What can I do to protect my property if this goes south tonight? And get a ruling from local police. So it's pretty complicated, but it's worth doing the effort to fix it. If you got little kids, you got a spouse, I would get them out of there. You don't want your little kids hunkered down with you if people are attacking your home or your business. So think about that. Be wise. Remember, property is not as important as your life, but sometimes you got to take a stand.